World AIDS Day is Tuesday, December 1st. It's an opportunity for people worldwide to join in the fight against HIV and AIDS. Here in the United States, African Americans are the group most affected by the disease. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 44% of new infections in the last year were in African Americans. Everett Marshburn tells us about a new weapon in the fight against HIV and AIDS.
There are more than 1 million people in the United States living with HIV. Many of them are unaware that they carry the virus. There are at least 50,000 new cases each year. Condoms and testing have been the major weapons used to stop the spread of HIV. But last year, the Food and Drug Administration approved the use of a new weapon, pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP. It's a pill that must be taken daily, and it is only for men and women who are HIV negative and at high risk for exposure to the virus. Theo Braden is 30, openly gay, and a program research assistant for the PrEP study at UW-Madison's Division of Infectious Diseases. He became interested in PrEP before he started that job because he heard about it from a friend.
He was telling me all about it and ranting and raving about like how good this drug was and how it was spreading like wildfire. So the cool thing to do is to kind of be on it. So that was kind of, a lingering thought. But then growing up in a poor neighborhood, a poor black neighborhood, like I saw the devastating effects of HIV/AIDS. So it's always been near and dear to me. So I know like the reality of the disease, and if there was a way to prevent it, even if I am protecting myself all the time, I was sure gonna jump on board with it. I grew up in Tampa, Florida, like in this project complex called Review Terrace, and it was really run down. It was, lots of, drug addicts, and so it was just, HIV was rampant. I didn't see too many gay people, because I identify as gay, but there were lots and lots of heterosexual people who were HIV positive. And I think because HIV wasn't really talked about, it was talked about in terms of being like that stuff, or, the ninja is what we used to call it. So we never actually named it and never had discussions around it, I think. That's why it was spreading like wildfire.
What about side effects? Did you have any side effects when you started taking PrEP?
Well, the thing of it is, it's like when you start it, you hear so many stories about, nausea, and like having vivid dreams. And so I can recall thinking I had a vivid dream, but I don't think I did. I think it was, imagined. So ever since I've started it, I've had no side effects whatsoever.
He's been taking 1 pill a day since October of 2014.
You have to take the regimen daily in order for it to work. And so if you skip a dose and if you end up having, unprotected sex, then you could become HIV, become infected with HIV, and the medications don't work, if you are HIV positive. So it's, to make sure that you are getting what you need in terms of healthcare. And so I, get tested for HIV and syphilis every 3 months, and then also with every 3 months I have to undergo a lab panel to check my creatinine levels, because there is a potential that it might have it might impact your kidneys, and so they check, to look at your creatinine levels and to make sure that everything's functioning well, and everything has been, and I've had no complaints. It's been wonderful.
Just as HIV carries a stigma, so does PrEP.
I think from what I see, there's a lot of stigma about PrEP, which is kind of why I was a little bit, leery of being out about being on it, because there's this association that if you're on PrEP, and that means you must obviously want to be having unprotected, sex. And I don't think that that's true. I mean, I think there are people who do it for those reasons, but I think another reason is that you just want to be, at least in my case, I want to be as safe as possible. And so I want people to kind of look past the stigma of being, oh, if I take PrEP, that means I'm going to be having, tons of wild unprotected sex. People are going to be thinking that about me. And to instead look at it as a way of just making sure that they are protected. And if you can protect yourself without any side effects, at least in my experience, then why not do that?
Imagine that you start taking PrEP once a day. Your body digests the pills, and the medication starts building up protection for your T cells. After taking a pill each day for about a week, your T cells are getting maximum protection.
This video offers an in-depth explanation of how PrEP works to prevent the HIV virus from successfully spreading. It can be found at whatisprep.org. You can also get more information about PrEP at the AIDS Resource Center of Wisconsin, arcw.org/PrEP, or by calling 800-359-9272.